This is the Okinichi Band of the Saponi Nation website. They have a beautiful, recently released land acknowledgement. They ask that the land acknowledgement be read in full at occasions like this. And they also ask that folks try their best to use the indigenous language that's part of the land acknowledgement. Even if they do so kind of poorly, it's just at least making that effort. So I'll do my best. So this is the land acknowledgement from the Okinichi Band of the Saponi Nation. Lewa, Ino, Tutelo, Saponi, Okinichi, Shakrori, Yatile, Ama, Aginyohi, Yonsepawa, Wahibiese. I would like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Ino, Tutelo, Saponi, Okinichi, and Shakrori native people. Mekrori, Mekan, Kiho, you are welcome here. We are gathered today on land that was traditionally part of the territory of the Saponi people, in the Piedmont of what is now called the state of North Carolina. This area is not far from the great trading path used by both native peoples of this state and non-native peoples during the early years of contact. The Saponi people, whose descendants include the Okinichi Band of the Saponi Indian tribe, still thrive and live in this region, officially recognized by the state and government of North Carolina. The Okinichi are connected to this land, spiritually and physically. It provided all we needed to sustain our communities. We hunted in the forests, fished in the streams, and grew our crops in the woodland clearings. We picked the wild grapes, gathered the acorns, and harvested the poplar bark to build our homes. We raised our grandchildren and protected our families. We are bonded and one with the land, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It flows within our veins. Despite how the landscape has changed, regardless of the concrete, asphalt, and steel that covers it today, it is still our home, and the bones of our ancestors sleep in this part of Mother Earth. As we come together here, do not forget that our people love this land, although most of you who live and work here on it today have little knowledge of our past and present existence. We did not sell or willingly vacate the land, so it remains in our hearts. As the great Chief Seattle said, every part of the earth is sacred to my people. Every shining pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every meadow, every humming insect, all are holy in the memory and experience of my people. This land does not belong to man, we belong to the land. The Okinichi people, the Yesa, ask that you keep these thoughts in mind while here in place, and treat it with respect, love, and care that our ancestors did, and as we do so today. Our hope is that we all exist and acknowledge this sacred land together in a good way. May it be so. So once again, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce Camilo Romero tonight. Although that honor should go to someone else, that person responsible for making the vision of this evening a reality, Danielle Lake. So let's please all give her a warm round of applause. Danielle is an associate professor here at Elon and the director of the Center for Design Thinking, so we're very grateful for her organizing spirit and vision, as well as support from the Design Center and the DesignForge Workshop in making this possible. I also want to thank the other members of the band, Randy Orwig right up here in front, and Elon Community Church for hosting us this evening and welcoming us into your space. Thank you so much. We want to thank Tiffany King and Citygate Dream Center for the amazing food this evening. I hope you're all enjoying it. Give them a round of applause as well. Melinda Spencer, if you could wave. I don't know where Melinda is. Just for helping set this whole thing up. Claire Cohen on video and photography. You're going to see Claire around if you haven't already. And all the other wonderful student helpers, Emily Joss, Sam Rodell, Anya Brodek, and Pek Nguyen. As well as our community partners this evening. Please visit all of our community tables. Let's give them a round of applause as well for being here. Finally, on IT and AV and Zoom support, give it up for Dallas Smith and his trusty helper, Will. Give it up for Will.
Yeah, Will.
So for those of you who might not be familiar, Dallas runs mission control at Elon. Unlike mission control, though, if ever we have an issue, we don't say, Houston, we have a problem. We say, Dallas, we have a problem. And he's always got us covered. So without further ado, I want to introduce you all to an old friend of mine who I met about an hour ago, Camilo Romero. He certainly feels like an old friend already. Camilo is the founder of an organization called Regeneración, and this is a movement of young people, young Colombians, committed to empowering the next generation of civic and cultural leaders through creative peace-building projects. As a former legal director of the National Farm Workers Association, Camilo led international delegations to Chocó, Colombia, organized student and consumer campaigns as a union organizer for El Sindicato Nacional de Trabajadores, and designed a Know Your Rights training as a legal coordinator for homeboys industry in Los Angeles. He studied international human rights law at New York University Law School, and so he's well acquainted with the importance of documenting human rights abuses and doing the legal proceedings that accompany those types of issues. But he's also firmly aware that healing in the wake of injustice, oppression, and violence is an intergenerational, multi-generational effort that takes a whole community to realize. And here in our own county, in our own state, in this country, in this world, there is a lot of ongoing injustice and division, and a lot of healing that needs to be done. So we're very, very grateful for having Camilo be with us this evening and to create this community together. So let's give him a warm welcome.
Am I on, Dallas? I'm on. Buenas noches. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Good evening, buenas noches. You can hear me okay? All right. Did everybody get food? Everybody get seconds? I haven't yet, so this is your chance. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Dallas, Will, Jewel, all the folks that haven't met yet for welcoming me. It's real straight up, real easy, real basic what we're going to do here tonight. Just a few housekeeping items. ¿Quién prefiere hablar español? En confianza. Levanta la más alto. Ok, ustedes 5 y medio quizás. ¿Quién más? Las 4 de allá. Tú. Portugués. También. Carambas. Ok. Any other languages we need to account for? No? Sign language? Okay. North Carolinian English? So, tenemos dos opciones. Podemos hacerlo miti-miti, yo hablo en inglés y luego en español, o también tenemos traductores, intérpretes que nos pueden ayudar. Quizás son como 2 mesas, ¿no? There's about 2.5 tables. Podríamos hacer, Boss, Sandy, Marshall, how many interpreters do we have? So por ahora vamos a arrancar a parallel, okay? Some of you English speakers can learn some Spanish, and the Spanish people hear my English. And then perhaps, levante las manos, those of you who need Spanish, again, real quick. Estas 2 mesas por seguro, and then I think sprinkled back there. Okay, feel free to interrupt Sandy and Danielle if you need my attention, okay? Pero por ahora vamos a arrancar con los 2 idiomas. So, the agenda, la agenda va a ser la siguiente. We'll introduce each other, vamos a conocer, presentaciones. I'll tell you a little bit about why the heck I'm here. Les explico por qué carajo estoy yo aquí. Number 3, why this applies to each of us here in North Carolina, no matter where you're coming from. I know some folks are coming from other parts of the South. ¿Por qué nos corresponde estos temas aquí nosotros en Carolina del Norte? Número 4, number 4, we're going to be doing small groups. Vamos a hacer grupos pequeños. Por eso están en unas mesas, por eso están con comida. That's why we put you at small tables. That's why we brought you food, so that you'll be in these small groups. Will you become the stars of the show? Ustedes van a ser los protagonistas de esta presentación. Y por último, last point, number 5, is that we will take a group photo. Tomar una foto en grupo. So those of you who wash your hair today, put on the nice shirts, you'll be in the front of the photo. Those of us who haven't will be in the back. I don't publish anything. This is all us There's about 4 stragglers on Zoom paying attention, hopefully. Otherwise, it's just us in this room. It's a chance for us to feel connected, to learn a little bit about each other, and to do so in the context of DesignForge, which is my first time being here, but it sounds like it's a unique event to talk about how we build as a community and how we also build individually for our own sake. Y al final, punto 5, es vamos a tomar una foto en grupo. Tranquilas, que no se peinaron, los que no se bañaron, no pasa nada. Yo voy a estar atrás con ustedes. Y es un momento para poder como captar el momento que compartimos juntos y juntas. Yo no comparto nada ni por Facebook, ni Instagram, ni nada. Es solamente para celebrar este momento aquí reunidos en el contexto de DesignForge, que es lo que organiza Daniel y Sandy y otros, al cual me invitaron. ¿Listo? ¿Preguntas? Any questions so far? Where are the bathrooms, Camilo? ¿Dónde quedan los baños, Camilo? Out here to the left. Okay? Exactly where, I don't know, I haven't been, but I was told that they're there. Y ya, creo que es todo. Dime. I was hoping you'd be the translator, Sandy. No? I like how you said regeneración. Okay, entonces Patty nos ayuda con esta mesa y con los demás. And Sandy with the other folks? Okay. Listo. Y tú me dices si Camilo bájale el volumen o más despacio, ¿ok? Listo. Bien. All right. Ready? So first things first, like I promised, we'll do introductions. Primero que todo nos vamos a conocer. Lo presentamos. And we could probably do that table by table. It'd probably be easiest. But I'll do an example. All this will be led by example, okay? Lo que yo te diga va a ser por ejemplo. Te lo voy a demostrar y tú luego lo repites. So we'll do a big presentation of each of us here, and then we'll do them individually at the table. And let's pretend we're sitting at a big table right now, esta mesa grande. Estoy sentado yo, estoy sentado, está sentado ahí también. Also, we'll pick on one of the ladies back there helping us serve the food. We'll pick on the brother over here that I said hello to earlier with the fist bump. I think your name was James, if I don't remember correctly. And we'll do that. And we'll do Liam. Okay, you don't know who Liam is yet, but you will. Entonces, vamos a presentar de esta manera. Estamos en la mesa yo, Dallas, una de las chicas atrás, James y Liam. We will say our names, diríamos nuestros nombres. We will say where we're coming from, dirímos de dónde venimos. And we won't say I'm coming from Burlington or from Durham. Say, where are you coming from? One of these 2 places. Maybe a heavy week, maybe a difficult winter 2022, maybe a bad day, whatever you're feeling, that's where you're coming from. Number 3, where are your grandparents from? Número 3, ¿de dónde son tus abuelos y abuelas? Okay? Name, ¿de dónde vienes? De manera metafísica, no vengo de la calle o del trabajo, sino que vengo de una semana pesada, vengo de un 2022 de las patadas, ¿sí? Y 3, tus abuelas y abuelos, ¿de dónde son? Where are your grandparents from? And there's a 4th question that is very important. That's why the team here spent days and nights cutting pieces of paper for you and bringing crayons and markers. The 4th question, la cuarta pregunta, la van a escribir, la van a responder con esos marcadores y crayolas, los papelitos. You will answer the question, and this is anonymous, es anónimo. No tienes que poner tu nombre, whatever you write, draw, scribble, it's all good. No hay ninguna respuesta incorrecta. You will answer the question that all of us through Regeneración have been asking now for several years, is, ¿cuál es tu paz? What is your peace? Oh, can you see that? Maybe it's esta verde. So we'll say our names, nombres, de dónde venimos, where you're coming from, your grandparents, de dónde vienen. Y la cuarta pregunta es, ¿cuál es tu paz? What is your peace? And you'll write it. So real quick, we'll do the examples. My name is Camilo Romero. I'm coming from California yesterday. Arrived to Raleigh-Durham in the rain. Tried to make it into a Hurricanes Lightning game, but ironically I got rained on. And where else am I coming from? And a difficult winter. There's been transition and loss in my family, so I'm carrying that definitely. Vengo de California ayer y de un pesado invierno 2022 por asuntos de mi familia. And mis abuelos, mis abuelas, all my grandparents are from Colombia, kind of the Andean part of Colombia. And my piece, I'm going to write it once I finish speaking. Okay, so we'll do the example. Hey, Dallas, how about you? What's your name? Where are you coming from?
Hello, everyone. My name is Dallas Smith. I'm coming from a good place, a place of the weather's getting nicer, it's getting busier and more exciting at Elon. It's a great time to be at Elon. That's, I think, where I'm coming from. And my grandparents were from Greensboro, North Carolina. They have both passed, but they're still here in my heart. So, but welcome everyone tonight. Thanks.
Thanks, brother. And Dallas, on his own paper, will write his piece. Okay, and with the piece, what can it be? It could be your favorite lyrics to a song, your favorite child. It could be nature. It could be one of your gods. It could be a feeling. ¿Cuál es la paz que escribes? Puede ser la naturaleza, tu Dios, tu novia favorita, tu ex esposo favorito, tu equipo favorito, lo que a ti te traiga paz, okay? My brother, I don't know your name. I think I know your name, but how about you? Can you introduce yourself for us? That's good. And where are your grandparents from? All right. And we'll make sure to get you a paper so you can write down your piece too, okay? Oh, she's serving pasta. Maybe we don't pick on her? What do you think? How about you, Leon? Will you intro yourself for us, with us? You down? Mama will help you. So your name, where you're from, where you're coming from, and where your grandparents from. Here. They gave me a fancy mic you can borrow.
Liam, Michigan.
Grandparents are Michigan as well.
Michigan.
Liam, Michigan. We got you, bro. All right, and one last one, okay? Would you mind saying where you're from, your name, where you're coming from, and where your grandparents are from?
I'm Kai. I'm just here from North Carolina, and my grandmother's from Miami, and my grandfather's also here from North Carolina.
Okay, cool. Your face got as red as the pasta sauce.
I know.
All right, so those are our examples. Now, when you're on small groups at the table, ahora son los ejemplos que ustedes vieron. Ustedes lo pueden hacer entre ustedes ahorita, okay? You guys can share your intros with each other, okay? And I'll make sure that, meanwhile, who doesn't have paper at their table? Everyone has one, right? Okay, dale, go for it. Okay, how are we doing as groups? We're almost done? We're done. All right. ¿Y cómo les va? ¿Ya casi terminamos? Should we continue? Did we get you papers? Did you get papers?
Not yet.
And then run a creativity stuff.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, listas y listos. Shall we restart? You good, Daniel? You done? All right. Sé que llegaron algunos más tarde. Some folks came a little bit later. You can watch them awkwardly as they grab their food. We will continue. Si no terminaron sus dibujos, if you didn't finish your piece paper drawings, that's okay. You can do it throughout the workshop. If something comes up, feel free to do it. If you're zoning out with this presentation, go back to your drawing. It's all good. It's, again, anonymous. Es anónimo tu paz. Okay, no tienes que poner tu nombre, pero sí la vamos a compartir. We will share them at the end of the workshop. So just fold them up and you can put them at the center. Don't throw them away. Don't take them with you, please, okay? And I'll explain why at the end. Listo, so that's the first part. Next is, why are we here? Why do we gather today at the church? La segunda es, ¿por qué estamos aquí? cómo llegamos a este punto, a esta iglesia comunitaria. So I'll ask the question to you. Les pregunto a ustedes, ¿quién conoce Colombia? How many of you have been to Colombia? All right, a handful of you. Bien. ¿Quiénes conocen Colombia? How many of you know about Colombia? Feel informed about it? Okay. How many of you have no idea what the heck Colombia is or where? Okay. Entonces, te pregunto, and I ask you because there's a lot of stigma, and actually you all can help me. Ustedes me pueden ayudar. Cuando digo Colombia, ¿qué les viene a mente? What comes to mind to you when I mention Colombia? Good and bad, just throw them out. Coffee? Comida? Violencia? Receding hairlines? What does that mean? The sombreros? That the women wear. I think you're thinking Peru and Bolivia. But good try, though. Nobody knows your name. It's all right. Flores, claro. The Flower Festival, Medellín. ¿Quién más? Baile, claro. María. Colorful, vibrant. Sí, colorido, vibrante. Tradición, traditions, sure. Graffiti art, Bogotá traffic, claro, sin duda. Tráfico de Bogotá. Any others? There's some other real ones you're being shy about. Gracias, drogas. La mafia. Corrupción. We're talking about Burlington or Colombia? Okay, sí, all that is true. Todo eso es cierto. Encanto, the movie, yes, thank you. Bien. Bendecida que eres, claro. So you know all about family trauma, which ironically or fittingly is really what Regeneración is about, is addressing intergenerational trauma, which Encanto beautifully confronts. Esa es Colombia, that is Colombia. All the stereotypes that you hear about, there's usually a little root of truth where they come from. And so in that truth de Colombia, que hemos vivido muchos, there's been a peace process. Hubo un proceso de paz que se llevó a cabo primero en Noruega y luego en Cuba, de manera clandestina initially. There was a peace process that took shape first in Norway and then in Cuba, secretly initially, to try to bring peace to the country and to the generations of diaspora of Colombians throughout the world. And a few of us were a part of that. I'll tell you a brief secret, which is when these talks were happening, cuando los diálogos ocurrieron en Cuba, algunos de nosotras y nosotros managed to be a part of the peace talks. Fuimos a Cuba. In my passport, a few of us, we made these little fake press passes that said Prensa Internacional, put them in the passport. There was no way they were going to work. But it worked. We got into the palco de negociaciones. If the negotiator were Randy Orwig, if you would have sneezed, the mocos would have landed on me. We were like right there, front row of all the negotiations. Y estando aquí en las negociaciones en Cuba, con unas credenciales falsas de prensa que logramos colarnos. Si ustedes comparten eso en público, lo voy a negar. If you say this publicly, I'm going to deny I ever said this, even if it's being recorded by Dallas. Y logramos ver de cara a cara lo que realmente estaba pasando entre la guerrilla de las FARC y el Estado colombiano. We got to see up close and personal. If the main negotiator, si el negociador principal hubiera estornudado, nos caen nosotros los mocos. Ahí puro enfrente estábamos. Y vimos que realmente la brecha entre la guerrilla y el Estado no era tanto política, sino más bien casi personal. And we saw that the real issues between the two fighting factions generationally, the FARC, the guerrilla, the FARC, and the Colombian state, was not so much political but personal. Because we saw them being very cordial, even caring to each other. Y nos fuimos de esos diálogos. It was 7 of us that were able to sneak in. Salimos de esos diálogos, left those peace talks with a sense of hope, certainly, con un sentido de esperanza, pero también un sentimiento muy agridulce de realmente qué es la paz. We left with a very bittersweet feeling of not knowing exactly what is peace in the first place. Peace for somebody who has land throughout Colombia is being able to drive safely to their properties. And maybe peace for somebody who doesn't have that privilege is simply having a plate of spaghetti to eat that night. ¿Sí? Entonces la paz fue muy relativa. ¿Sí? La paz puede ser un camino libre para sus tierras en Colombia, otro puede ser simplemente tener con qué comer esa noche. ¿Sí? So we also looked around as to who were in these diálogos, quién estaban estas charlas de paz. And I'll ask you the questions. Yo les pregunto a ustedes. There were 20 members of the peace negotiations. Habían 20 miembros de la mesa de paz, de la guerrilla y del Estado. 20 total. 10 and 10. 10 of the Colombian government and 10 of the guerrilla. 10 del gobierno y 10 de la guerrilla. So of those 20 members total, what do you think, ¿qué creen ustedes, de esos 20 en total, how many of those 20 do you think were women? De esos 20, ¿cuántas creen que eran mujeres? Tú dices 0, tú dices 0, you say 0, 2. Thank you, Connie, for the hope. ¿Quién más? ¿Otra adivinanza? ¿Quién más? 10? 10? Okay. The lemonade is affecting you clearly. There were 2. You win the extra brownies, Connie. There was 1 for each side. Había una de cada lado. And the big uproar in Colombia wasn't because there were only 2 women out of 20, but because the one of the FARC was a gringa. She was a Dutch woman. She wasn't actual Colombiana, which also has its merits. Y lo que realmente fue el escándalo no fue que hayan solo 2 de 20, sino que una de las compañeras, la de la guerrilla, era gringa, era holandesa. Okay, another question. Out of those 20, de esas 20 en total, how many do you think were young people? ¿Cuántos creen que eran jóvenes? And let's be generous. Let's say young is under 40. Digamos que jóvenes es menores de 40. ¿Sí? Of those 20, de esos 20, ¿cuántos eran jóvenes? 5 dices tú? Yeah. Thank you. Also 5. Okay. 8. 3. 2. 5. Okay, anybody else? All right, no brownies for any of you. 0. 0. No había ninguno. Okay, 2 more questions, 2 más. De esos 20, how many were Afro-Colombian? De esos 20, ¿cuántos eran afrocolombianos? Y contexto, some context. Colombia, you may not realize it. Maybe if you see our photo, but if you like novelas, if you like sports, maybe you'll see some black Colombians. But surprise, surprise, just like in this country, usually they're not the most celebrated faces and lifestyles of cultures, you know? And Colombia is no exception. No, white supremacy is everywhere. Entonces, quizás ustedes ven novelas o deportes o eso, quizás sepas que hay diversidad cultural en Colombia, pero Colombia, 1/4 parte del país es afrodescendiente. 1/4, 25% of Colombia is afrodescendant. Obviously different shades, just like this room here, but proudly culturally so. Oftentimes just not presented in more mainstream media. So knowing that, how many of the 20 that were there negotiating peace for the nation of Colombia were Afro-Colombian, do you think? De esas 20, ¿cuántos eran afro? ¿Tú crees? ¿Tú dices 5? 0. Okay, 0. Nishani says 1. 2. What do you think, Will? 2? Okay, that's a safe bet. Correcto. 0. There were none. All right, now I think you've caught on to the theme. Ya creo que puedes adivinar la siguiente pregunta. And now of those 20, how many do you think were indigenous, native Colombianas and Colombianos? And again, Colombia is richly ethnic. I was very encouraged to hear the land acknowledgement to begin this. Colombia tiene mucha diversidad étnica, incluyendo de nativos, de indígenas. But how many do you think? Gracias. Somebody said 5. Nice try. Cero. Sí, claro, zero. There were none. So when we left Cuba, we were thinking, wow, okay, it made sense in English. No sé cómo se dice eso en español. I'm not sure how you say this exact saying in Spanish. But the road to hell is paved with this, with these good intentions. That, sure, these kind of older, pot-bellied, white Colombian men feel like they can create peace for a nation, for generations of us. And sure, it's worth a shot. Claro, pues intentémoslo, ¿por qué no? We're not going to criticize, ¿por qué criticar? Apoyemos eso, pero también démonos cuenta que estos hombres blancos, barrigones, viejos, no, ¿cómo van a construir la paz para generaciones de colombianas y colombianos, sí? So with that bittersweet feeling, con ese sentimiento agridulce, es que comenzamos regeneración. That's how regeneración started. Now with the idea of trying to like talk down and say, no, that's not going to work, because nothing has worked. You know, why not try? We weren't against the peace process. Most of us voted in favor of the peace process. But it still wasn't perfect. Surprise, surprise, human life. Entonces ahí nos dimos cuenta que realmente no era tanto de poder uno forzar políticamente una paz, sino que realmente viene de aquí. Y yo tenía la idea ilusa de que como abogado, organizador, yo podía como cambiar el mundo y porque yo tengo esas herramientas se puede realmente ejercer una paz a largo plazo. I realized that despite all the tools and good intentions and financing you might have, that really this kind of long-term peace doesn't happen with press conferences and press releases. It begins in here. It begins very, very individually, very internally. So that was where Regeneración was born. These are some of our first members when we were first founded. Regeneración really is best embodied by the story of this young woman. Si puedes ver la flechita. Ella se llama Luisa Gil. Her name is Luisa Gil. I'll tell you her story as kind of an example of why storytelling works and of why I think DesignForge here today in these next few days an example of that power of design. Y la historia de ella es, ya cumplió sus 23 años. I don't have a map of Colombia, but imagine the northwest part of Colombia, closer to Panama. And her father was a union organizer. Su papá era un sindicalista por el sindicato Sinaltrenal, the Food and Beverage Workers Union of Colombia. And they were starting their union. You may already know, but maybe not, just to be safe. Union tends to be a bad word here, ¿no? Sindicato suele ser una palabra nefasta aquí, ¿no? And since there are young people here, maybe we'll explain what a union kind of is. Explicamos un poquito qué es un sindicato. Let's say Will is a worker. Not too far of an assumption here, right? No, you can still be on your phone, it's good. We're just using an example. Y digamos que Will, como un empleado, un trabajador, que tal, él diga, ¿sabes qué? Oye, jefa Daniel, boss Daniel, you know, I've been working long hours. I only get like 2 little twirls of pasta. Can I have 4 little tubes of pasta? Maybe half a brownie? Can I have like a restroom break somewhere in between? What typically happens with the union, con sindicato, como Will, si pide como mejores horas, quiere que le dé un poquito de comer, que le permitan ir al baño. Lo que pasa con la jefa, Daniel, usualmente, si sabes qué, Will, pistola. You know what, Will? See you later. There's plenty of other students who would love to have your job and won't be complaining for their rights. So the rest of us say, hey, Will, that's not right. Boss Danielle, she can't do that to you. Typically, that's what a union is. And it happens everywhere, right? Starbucks, this campus, I'm sure, right? And in Colombia and other places, there's an added element where it's not just Danielle versus Will. En otros países como los nuestros, hay un elemento adicional que no es solo Daniel contra Will, sino luego Daniel llama a Sandy. Daniel will call Sandy and say, hey, Sandy, do me a favor. Keep an eye on Will. He's been causing trouble back at the factory. And you can tell with the look on his face and the nice blazer that Sandy is part of the paramilitaries. Part of the right-wing death squads of Colombia that have been a major part of the drug trade. Y por la colusión entre paramilitares como Sandy, tiene cara toda buena gente, pero no. Colusión entre Daniel y Sandy, han habido cantidad de silenciamientos, torturas, asesinatos de trabajadores como Will. And in the case of Colombia, because of the collusion between companies, bosses like Daniel, and paramilitaries like Sandy, there have been countless, not just silencings, but tortures, kidnappings, and murders of Will. This is just an example, Will. It's not going to happen here. And it's in that context that Luisa's father, Isidro, formed this union locally in Carepa, not far from Medellin. In the mix of the negotiations, I'm cutting off some details so that we can get to the juicy parts of our sociodrama. Le corto un poquito la historia para que podamos llegar a la parte interactiva. Pero por el esfuerzo de Isidro, el papi de Luisa, a formar ese sindicato, a él un día vienen a buscarlo. El primer día de negociación del contrato entre el sindicato y la empresa. La empresa se llama Coca-Cola. On the first day of negotiations, what's called a collective bargaining agreement, Isidro, being the Secretary General of this new union, is waiting for representatives from the company to negotiate. The company is called Coca-Cola. I'm sure most of you have heard of it. Based not too far from here. That morning, just after 9 a.m., they had just opened the gates in Carepa, Antioquia. 2 paramilitaries on a motorcycle identify Isidro, shoot him twice on the forehead, and tell the rest of the workers who came out to see what had happened that if they didn't resign from the union, they would face the same fate. Y a esa hora llegan 2 paramilitares en moto, identifican a Isidro, le dan 2 tiros en la frente y le dicen a los demás trabajadores, si ustedes no renuncian al sindicato, van a quedar tendidos en el piso como Isidro. Of course, everyone resigns. In fact, the union hall was burned down that same afternoon. Y Luisa queda huérfana. And Luisa now is fatherless. Tragic story, no doubt. Luisa's mother, la mami de Luisa, which is quite uncommon in Colombia because of the implications, files a wrongful death claim. Denuncia la muerte de su compañero dentro de la fábrica against Coca-Cola and these paramilitaries. And a year later, she is also killed. Y un año después, a ella también la matan. So Luisa has now no father, no mother. And you may wonder, Camilo, how the heck are you guys going to be sharing stories of hope and resilience with a story so sad like Luisa's? You know? Preguntarán ustedes cómo van a hacer historias como de sanación y resiliencia si la historia de Luisa es trágica, es pesada. Well, it's certainly to her benefit, to her honor, un testamento a Luisa, su coraje, siendo poderosa, that she volunteered to do our first project as a group, as Regeneración. We were thinking, like, what can we do actually to contribute to the peace process? What can be our little, like we say in Spanish, granito de arena? What's your little grain of sand that you can contribute to this effort? And she said, I want to tell my story in a children's book so that others like me, like my nieces at that point, they're still quite young, can know our story, can know my story. And realizing that at that point, this is now 6 years ago, and while we still feel young, it was the idea that generations are coming who may never know the Colombia that I certainly felt, no doubt my mother and my grandmother felt, of a Colombia at war with ourselves. Y por eso la historia de ella fue lo que lanzó Regeneración. And that's how Luisa's story is what really launched Regeneración. And how we realized that through telling our stories, we can begin to, that little grain of sand of healing. With one's own self, Luisa's own self, and those around her, her family, and like that little reverberation of generations that come after her. Y que la historia de ella pueda sanarla no solo a ella, sino la familia de ella, la familia de su familia, y así ir repercutiendo a nivel de generación. But there's no happy ending. No hay final feliz. And I say that because I always knew Luisa had a younger sister. Yo sabía que Luisa tenía una hermana menor, Laura. Her name is Laura. And she never wanted to be a part of the calls or the meetings. Siempre la sentí como distante, como que no esto de Regeneración y Camilo y como que no sé. It's because she did not have the same sense of optimism about losing her mother and father to this violence in Colombia. Ella no guardaba la misma esperanza que guardaba Luisa. Just 2 years difference. Solo 2 años de diferencia. Y ahí fue que realmente nos dimos cuenta de que las historias de trauma, stories of trauma, affect us very differently. And that's how these workshops came to be. First the children's books, and then these workshops. Which for me, somebody who is born an Aries, an ENTJ, the oldest, the only boy, like total like macho jerk building blocks, and realize that, damn, this is how we actually change the world, is through recognizing our own trauma, our own feelings, knowing how to address our feelings, express them, hopefully constructively, and have others do the same. And imagine all the conflict we could avoid if we simply knew how to address our feelings, share them, and perhaps then make some. So those of you who are raising kids, who are in marriages, happily or not, who are administrators, that's ultimately how it is to deal with other humans, right? We're a big ball of feelings. Reconocer esos sentimientos, poder tratarlos, comunicarlos de manera ojalá constructiva. Realmente me di cuenta yo, que soy súper de construcción, de siendo una familia donde yo soy el mayor, soy el único varón, nací en marzo, soy Aries, como que todo se alineaba para yo ser un cabrón. Y quizás lo soy todavía, pero como que un poquito de conciencia de cómo carajos se mueve uno para crear un poquito más de empatía con el prójimo, ¿sí? La prójima. So that's the big picture. I'll introduce you real quick to the crew before we do the next stage. Here at the far right, les presento al equipo inicial. Yolani vive en Quibdó, Chocó. She lives in Chocó, which is the far west coast of Colombia. That's where we started initially. It's kind of like the deep south of this country. It's mostly black, mostly indigenous, and mostly forgotten. It's been the canary in the mine of a lot of development in Colombia. Es la costa pacífica que es bastante explotada y menospreciada, como el sur de aquí, de este país. Luisa, que ya la mencioné. Melissa, who now lives in Paris, actually. She used to live in Cauca, vive en París ahora. Camila, she is related to me. Not by name, but by last name. Claudia, who's now, I think, living in Florida. Elizabeth, who's from Bogotá. Carolina, who lives in San Diego. And me when I had better grooming. Y preguntas hasta ahora. No traducí eso. Y bueno, yo cuando me peinaba, la última. Preguntas, dudas, inquietudes, questions, comments, answers, regrets. We're entering now my favorite part, which is where I speak less and you guys become the stars of the show. ¿Quién sabe lo que es un sociodrama? Who knows what a sociodrama is? Oh, good. Do you mind telling us? Well, tell us your name first and then what a sociodrama is.
A sociodrama,
What's your name?
Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
It's a drama that's based on the things that are actually happening in society at that time and taking a real hard look at it, but not in a Hollywood with the blue, yellow lighting thing, but a real conversation.
Gracias. And who does sociodramas? Beautiful. Connie, share some brownies with her, okay, please? With Nicole. It's real basic. I learned some of this stuff through a trial lawyer's school. And it's really just a chance to be vulnerable in a space that's creative, spontaneous. You don't have to plan anything. There's no right or wrong answers. And it really is getting in touch with our own childlike selves, of just simply being without worrying about judgment. Y lo que explicó Nicole es que realmente sociodrama es más bien como una obra espontánea que uno puede tocar temas personales o familiares de una manera sin juicio. ¿Sí? Es como un tipo de obra de arte. Nobody has to be a performer. Despite my hippie look, this is not my thing either. It's something that we have acquired as a way to actually build community and have the sense of togetherness. Nadie tiene que ser experto, usted no tiene que ser artistas. Aunque yo tenga esta pinta de hippie, no es algo que a mí tampoco me viene de naturaleza. Es una herramienta para poder conectarnos, ¿sí? So I promised I would would show you by example. So let's just do our group right here real fast. At your table, this is your team. Ustedes van a ser equipos de sus mesas. So some of you who are trying to be cool, just two at a table, try to connect with another table so that there's at least 4 of you, okay? And if you don't know each other, even better. Usualmente procuramos separar los que ya se conocen, como hermanos o amantes en secreto o profesores, para que no haya como esta dinámica que van a saber de mis secretos. In this case, it's okay. we'll just go with it. Usually we try to break up cliques, the people who know each other, either classmates or siblings, secret lovers, professors, students. We don't want, because usually you might kind of hush yourself because you don't want somebody else to know. In this case, it's all right. If anything happens, you can blame Daniel. So let's say this is my group, okay? It's 5 of us here. Este es el ejemplo. Les doy el ejemplo. Entonces yo comenzaría, and I would share a conflict I'm feeling. The more vulnerable, the more honest it could be, the better. Entre más honesto y vulnerable tu compartir, mejor. Compartes qué es tu conflicto. ¿Sí? On your paper, you're writing what is your piece. Don't forget. Y aquí, hablado, ¿cuál es tu conflicto? ¿Sí? What is your trauma? Luisa's, obviously, you know her trauma. Mine, you don't know mine yet, but I'll share. That my grandma has stage 4 breast cancer, mi abuela. Cristina tiene cáncer, metastizada. She is my closest person in this world, and I know that my life will be divided someday between the day she was here and the day she stopped being here, at least in this presential life. She might outlast me, it's possible, but this has been something I've carried now for several years. No one at my table can fix that reality. Maybe Connie has some potions she can share. Maybe someone else like Camilo, you know, we're not trying to fix it. We're simply putting it to the center of the table, and that's it. No es para buscarle remedio al conflicto, al trauma. Mira, Camilo, tengo un menjurje que te puede echar tu abuela para que... No es sanarla, no es arreglar, which I know we tend to do. We want to fix. In this case, we're simply sharing. And the rest of the group will do the same. What's your name?
Mary Beth.
Mary Beth. So then Mary Beth would go next, and Mary Beth could say...
I work at the library.
You work at the library. Oh, okay, Mary Beth has she has lots of conflicts working in the library. She could say, everybody thinks when they meet me, like, wow, they really are into me, and then they make assumptions because I'm a librarian. They think I'm going to be mean, hit them with a ruler. Remind them of their old library doofies from when they were kids. So maybe Mary Beth's conflict is having to live life as a librarian in public. Yeah? ¿Tu nombre?
Emery.
Emery. El conflicto de María Beth puede ser que ella es bibliotecaria y mucha gente tiene como mal aspecto de la bibliotecaria porque son como medio secas y le va a cobrar lo que no pagaron por sus libros. ¿Sí? Luego Emery. No conozco a Emery. Emery, ¿qué puedes? Oso. Wow, también trabaja en la biblioteca, pobrecita. Y el conflicto de ella puede ser, ya de Mary Beth ya opinan tan mal que de mí pues ya ni siquiera queda nada de esperanza. They already think so negatively of Mary Beth that they then meet me and I can't, there's no hope for me. Randy, I think you're an easy one, since you're the one that lent us the space, correct? Randy nos compartió el lugar para estar aquí reunidos. His conflict could easily be, I really think I'm a good man, I dress nice with bright shirts, and yet I always feel like people are using me just for my community space. Why can't they like me for my body, not just for the facilities I can offer? ¿Sí? Y el conflicto de Randy, obviamente, él nos consiguió ese salón. El conflicto de él es de que él siempre presiente que la gente busca su amistad no por sus camisas, su cabellito tan bonito blanco, o por su cuerpazo, sino es porque nos ofrece salones gratis, ¿sí? Es un abuso. And Connie's conflict could easily be, did you sit here on purpose in the front? ¿Sí? No? Okay, all right, okay, good. That'll be for the after party. So Connie's conflict would be that nobody was asking for her opinion, and now Camilo's using her as her prop for the brownies. Puede ser el conflicto de Connie, que se sintió enfrente sin querer queriendo y ahora lo estoy jodiendo yo con esto de la obra. Point is, everyone has their conflict, you know? In your small group, only you will know it. Solo ustedes lo van a saber. No es buscarles la solución. You won't try to solve it. Después, after you each have shared your conflict, then stage 2 is that you try to create a script. Después tratan de crear un guión. ¿Qué es un guión? What's a script? You basically, everyone else will have no idea what you talked about at your table. You're simply trying to create a way to express it, to show it. Where you're not telling us, you're showing us. ¿sí? Buscan demostrarlo, no hablarlo. So we're not going to be up here, my name is Mary Beth, and my conflict is that I'm a librarian, and people don't trust me. No, they're going to act it out. Maybe they're at a library, maybe there's two patrons, and somebody has a 15-cent debt, and you pull out the ruler. Como un ejemplo, as an example, ¿sí? Obviously, the more vulnerable you share, the better. Entre más vulnerable, mejor. Typically, us dudes struggle with this part. Like, don't talk about the war in Ukraine and climate change. Yes, that hurts me also. Es importante hablar de Ucrania y el calentamiento global, pero no te afecta a ti en este momento. ¿Sí? It's something that you're carrying here. Algo que tú cargues aquí, ahorita. ¿Sí? Y ya. ¿Entendimos? ¿Estamos bien? We follow that part? I think we're still good on time. ¿Sí? Bien. So after you shared, Connie's trying to get the straight A here. Do we each perform? You're performing collectively. So maybe some of your conflicts don't match with someone else's. Maybe you really like one person's conflict. Maybe you find like you can combine them somehow. You can call me over. Me llaman a mí si quieren que les ayude, give you ideas, brainstorm. Focus for now just on sharing your conflict. The rest will take care of itself, okay? Un buen champú para el cabello largo, puede ser un tema de bullying, tema lo que a ti ahorita te esté cargando, algo laboral, algo... Sí, problemas hay millones.
Sí.
Y tú simplemente lo compartes con tu grupo. ¿Sí? Ya, primer paso. ¿Sí? Nadie te va a juzgar, nadie te va a decir, mira, yo tengo una solución para eso. Solamente compartirlo. Y el segundo paso, ya luego es como grupo, entre ustedes 6, es buscar cómo quizás podrían demostrar lo que ustedes compartieron. No es decir, mi nombre es Luz y mi conflicto es X, sino demostrar, como dice el ejemplo de allá, dos de las señoras de enfrente son bibliotecarias. Y es el ejemplo tonto de que, bueno, mucha gente cree que son mala gente, que como le quieren cobrar los 10 centavos que debe por un libro, pueden actuar como están en una biblioteca para actuar ese conflicto. En un tema quizás laboral, puede estar la jefa y los 5 empleadas, y pueden estar hablando de un tema difícil. O puede ser un tema familiar, que está papá, mamá, la abuela y los 3 hijos.
Sí, siempre hay
y van,
conflictos. Pero a veces...
y lo actúan. Quizás tu mesa no está elegida como que la va a actuar, pero cada mesa esté lista con su obra basada en los conflictos que compartimos.
Como una obra de teatro.
Exactamente.
Yeah.
Tú ya sabes.
Sí, ahora vamos a empezar.
Listo. Cualquier pregunta me llaman.
Sí.
It's more of the little comments that he'll say, the sign.
¿Van bien?
Sí, ya estamos sacando aquí la sopa todas.
¿Van bien? Okay.
Sí, vamos, es que no sé qué problema.
¿Cómo le va? ¿Van bien?
Bien, gracias.
Okay. How are you all doing?
We've at length discussed kind of common conflicts, but we don't necessarily have a script per se.
Okay, good. You're at the best place to be,
Okay.
which is how do you kind of cook that stew, all these different ingredients, conflicts. Is there one conflict that really stood out that's very impactful that you might want to share? Is there some common themes that you're trying to separate? Do you want to do something that's more based in movements, like a dance or a skit. You want to do like some. I know Sandy is a big poet. Some of his basic. Like, imagine how you might want to express the conflicts or the themes that you discover. Okay. 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 But call me over if you need ideas. Hi.
Hey, so we're supposed to pantomime and not use any kind of words, or can we use words on paper?
There's no supposed to.
Okay.
As long as you're not saying my name is Nicole and my conflict is that I was gonna look that way, ready?
Okay.
Look that way.
Okay.
Una, dos, y. All right, I hope that works.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for winning.
Oh.
Miraculously.
Awesome.
Yeah, you all came out too.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Looks great. Let's go.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you
having
all for
us.
helping. Cada quien hizo su esfuerzo, su guión, sus compartires. Now that everyone shared a little bit of themselves and tried to create a script, our group is too big, it's a blessing. Este grupo es muy grande para hacerlos todos, to do every table, cada mesa. But we're open to receiving volunteers, recibiendo voluntarios, alguna mesa que quiera presentarse. I'm not going to choose anybody unless I have to. Okay, tenemos one group here. ¿Quién más? The corner group, ustedes tres. ¿Quién más quiere participar? Who else would like to show? We need some of the Spanish speakers. ¿Ustedes? Los que hablan español, ¿ustedes están listas? ¿Al voluntario? ¿Ustedes allá atrás también? ¿Qué creen? Bueno, me avisan. So for now we have 4 groups. You lucked out, those of you who didn't raise your hands. You want to go first? Grupo? ¿Ustedes? You guys want to go first? Okay, everyone, todos, por favor, bienvenidas. Everyone, please, let's welcome. You just do. And so some context. As we watch the big estreno, the big unveiling, every time we do these sociodramas, we created the tradition that we'll have somebody be the director. I'll show you what a director means. But ustedes, pick anybody in the audience. Who would you like to be your director?
Our director?
Anybody you'd like to pick out? Pick out.
The woman right here in the green jacket.
Okay. Why'd you pick her? Okay, all right. So they've chosen you as a director. You know what that means? Me neither. It's very easy. All you have to do now is when they give you the thumbs up, cuando le den a ti el listo, tú dices, and you said this exactly, luces, cámara, and all of us together do acción. Okay? What's your name?
Marcy.
So vamos a seguir a Marcy. Cuando ella comience, luces, cámara, todas nosotras y nosotros do acción. Okay? If we don't do it right, we got to repeat it. Okay? Luces, cámara, acción. When they give you the thumbs up. Okay? All right. So you give her once you give them the thumbs up, and then that's the action, and you guys start. Acción. That's good. That's good. Bravo, thank you. Thank you, Team GPS. Some of you may have questions. I have questions. It's become a tradition where instead of necessarily analyzing, en cambio de analizar, like why was he going first to his job and then to vacation and retirement, and why did he crash? The idea in these workshops, the bigger ones, is simply to appreciate without necessarily knowing all the answers. That one was kind of straightforward, but the other ones you might see, you'll be like, what the heck was it? Everyone has their own truth, their own conflicts, their own way of performing them. So thank you, Team GPS. No se asusten los demás. You don't have to be as polished as them. There's no right or wrong. But thank you for being the first ones to volunteer. Gracias por ser los primeros voluntarios. ¿Quién quiere seguir? Who wants to go next? You guys? You up? Okay, dale. Listo. And usually for each table, usualmente para cada grupo, le damos un nombre. But there's many of us, so we'll just Team GPS for now. And Team Front Row. Okay, everyone, please welcome Team Inner Voices. Oh, ¿quién quieren que sea tu director? Who do you want to be your director? Out of all these people that you could victimize, who would you like?
Fred, you shouldn't have looked at me.
Fred, you were looking at her, so now you're the director. You know what to do? When you get the thumbs up from them, you start to roll your R's and you say, luces, cámara, and then all of us together with you say, acción. Okay? Acción. Very good, all right. Bravo. Gracias, equipo. Voces internas. Thank you, group Inner Voices. And great work, Skylar. She's only 9 months old, already performing. I was wondering why you guys are so scared being so far back here on the stage. Sorry, the translation isn't available for some of this part. Es difícil traducir esas partes. Ojalá pudieron entender o escuchar por ahí atrás. Pero thank you, Team Inner Voices. Gracias. ¿Quién sigue? Who would like to go next? I know there's a team in the corner, and there was also you guys. See? You guys are next, okay? Dale, come, go for it. You guys don't have a team name, right? Should I introduce you as something? What? Should I introduce your team as something? Oh. Do you have a team name?
We'll go with Team Telephone.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, todos y todas, bienvenidas al grupo Teléfono, Team Telephone. Escojan su director o directora. Choose your director. What about her in the all the way in the back with the mask, who just walked away?
So it can't be her.
And what about the camerographer?
Okay, sure. We'll go with the videographer.
Videographer, what's your name? Erin, you ready? No. You know what to do? When they give you the thumbs up, you know what to say? No, not sort of. You say luces, cámara, and then all of us with you will say acción. Ready? When they give you the thumbs up.
Luces, camera.
Acción.
I need to go pick up some silver dollars and a jacket that zips.
Didn't I tell you it's not going to work if the washing machine's broken?
I told you I needed to go to Walmart. Do you know what the blue one is? We need to get socks because it's cold outside. You know, I remember when your grandmother gave me socks.
I'm afraid there's somebody under the car.
Did you find your socks that you left in the refrigerator? Have you talked to your nana today? I'm not sure what the doctor said, but he said you needed to come get me in the car.
Can you please make sure it's wet?
I think it's gonna rain later today. All right, I'm done with you.
Bravo.
I guess I'll do a summary of the group. No, we're not supposed to summarize, are we?
So, gracias, Team Telephone. So Nishani, right now, quería explicar. She wanted to explain right now what the telephone game was. Some of us can assume, some of us have no idea, some of us couldn't hear, some of us want to leave. In the end, al final de cuentas, whatever I took away and whatever each of you took away might be different, and that's okay. Just like Luisa y Laura. Igual como Luisa y Laura, the same trauma, the same experience, y un sentimiento muy distinto. ¿Sí? So that's part of the beauty of this, that there's no right answer. And especially, I think in this culture, especially academic institutions, we want to find the answer, the correct one, the proper one. Y en este caso no es ser correcto, ni adecuado, ni apropiado, sino simplemente dejar que lo que uno sienta sea la verdad de uno mismo. ¿Sí? Ok, creo que hay un grupo más. Ustedes tres, in the corner, you all ready? At least one of you is, okay. Are there any other volunteers? ¿Otro grupo que quiera pasar? Someone else who wants to perform? Oh, bien, ok, listo. Chévere. Muy bien, vamos a concluir con broche de oro. O desastre de oro, uno de los dos. Ok, y la directora. Okay, well, how should I introduce you three? We got like a theme? Team what?
The deaf ones.
Okay, por favor, la bienvenida al equipo de las sordas. Everyone, please welcome Team Deaf Ones. Ya sabes. Acción. Beautiful. Bravo. Gracias, equipo Las Sordas. Thank you, Team Deaf Ones. Many questions. Many questions. I wish I could ask them. Hopefully you're available after. We'll ask you more questions. Bien. Chévere. So, last, maybe least, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Y por últimas, los últimos serán los primeros. ¿Cómo se llaman ustedes? ¿Las presento? ¿Tiene un nombre? Yo mi conflicto. Equipo Yo mi conflicto. Bienvenidas, por favor, equipo Yo mi conflicto. Everyone, please welcome me, my conflict. ¿Quién va a ser tu director o directora? ¿Sí? No. ¿Quién crees?
Yo.
Oh, ¡Ey! ¿Qué pasó con ella? No, ven. Acompáñanos. No brownies for you. ¿A quién elegimos?
Jewel is my director.
Ok, perfecto, listo. Jewel from Graham.
Try the Spanish.
And to be fair, I'm not going to translate anything for the English speakers either, okay?
Okay, estos son dos mundos paralelos, ¿ok? Entonces, ella es el espejo.
No lo expliques. Solamente hazlo.
¿No?
Just do it.
Just do it. Ah, okay. All right. Action. Go.
Luces, cámara.
¡Acción! Habla duro. Proyecta tu voz. ¡Bravo! Gracias, equipo. Yo, mi conflicto. Thank you, team. Me, my conflict. Gracias por la valentía. Thank you for being courageous to come up here. Each of your groups has your own story, your own conflict, your own script. Some of you got lucky and didn't have to come up here. Maybe for the next workshop. Cada quien tiene su propia historia, sus propios conflictos. Afortunadas que no estuvieron aquí, se salvaron para la próxima. The idea with all this, as I mentioned earlier, como le mencioné antes, es que cada quien tiene su interpretación de una realidad. We each have our own emotional truths as we interpret them through our lenses. Many times that leads to conflict, as in the case of Luis Agil, in the case of Colombia, in the case of this country. With elections coming up here in the US, I think that conflict will once again bubble up. And frankly, in our own communities, there's micro examples. Each table was a family in some way. Some of you got along, some of you didn't, some of you won't tell the difference. But ultimately, that's the idea behind storytelling, towards a sense of community. Sé que ya el tema de sanación es uno que quizás sea muy sensible. Ahorita con el tema de las elecciones que vienen el año entrante, se va a volver a burbujear el tema de divisiones políticas, sociales, económicas. Even on this campus at Elon, certainly I've heard of some of the issues relating to Confederate monuments not far from here, the issues of the bubble of Elon, and how we actually have a connection to the community, which is why it's important that we were here at this church center. Pasar conectados una y al otro, since in the end, I'm not sure how much humanity has left here on this planet, but the time we do have left should be done with some vulnerability, some sense of belonging to each other. Para recordar que somos hermanos y hermanas al otro, aunque no lo reconozcamos de inmediato. Y Solo hay una cosita más por hacer. We're concluding the workshop before you guys get hungry again. Solo hay una cosita más por hacer, which maybe we can try to figure out the best way to do it. Each table has their peace papers, right? Cada mesita tiene sus papelitos de paz, las que escribieron with your peace. And maybe what we can do is, if you select, escojan una persona de tu mesa. Choose one person from your table to collect all the peace papers, please. Esa persona va a colectar los papelitos de paz. Esa una persona. ¿Sí? And just from each table, de cada mesa a esa persona, go ahead and choose one you would like to read. Esa persona, elija una que tú quieres leer. And we'll do one from each table. That way everybody gets represented, okay? So pasen su papel a una persona en la mesa, pass paper to one person on the table, at the table, and that person will choose one paper to read. Esa persona elige un papelito por leer. Okay? So we'll start at this corner. And I'll share my mic. ¿Sí entendieron? Chicas de la esquina, ¿sí entendieron? ¿Sí? So one person should have all the papers, yeah? ¿Listos? No, you just write your piece. Oh, I'll start with you last. You draw your piece. Your piece. So it could be your favorite child, your favorite ex-husband, your favorite sports team, your nature, your God, whatever brings you peace. Okay. I'll come last to you guys. Necias. ¿Sí me entendieron? Sí. Ok. ¿Entonces ya hicieron las papelitos de paz? Sí, ya lo hice. ¿Y quién las tiene?
Ahorita se van a recolectar todo.
Ok. Tú vas a ser la encargada, ¿sí? Ok. Todas le dan a ella. Papelito de paz. No sé, eso no tiene que ver conmigo. ¿Se las dan todos a quién? ¿A Luz? Ok, ¿listas? Okay, here we go. We're going to start then. We're going to start with Sandy. Are you the one in charge of your group?
Random draw?
No, just, you can choose. Just look at them and choose.
Oh, I can choose.
If you can, if there's time. Here. Okay, sure. Okay, Sandy is reading one of the pieces from his crew.
Okay, I'm at an empty table, but they left pieces of peace up behind. I like this one. What is your piece? Beach and family, sometimes.
Thanks for that. Okay, you guys are up next.
Oh.
Ready, Nicole? You want the mic?
My piece. My people, road tripping, water.
Y tiene un dibujo, and it has a drawing. Stick figures on the grass and a purple car down a purple street, on Black Street, near the water.
Near the water. There you go.
Gracias. Okay, seguimos. Go for it.
This one says, music is my piece, and there's drawings on it.
Okay. La música es mi paz y tiene dibujos de una conga, una maraca y una guitarra. You're a nice drawer. Dale, tú sigues. ¿Cuál es tu paz?
Mi paz es tocando el viola.
¿Sabes decirlo en inglés?
What puts me in peace is playing my viola.
All right. Puedes mostrar la viola. You can show it so they can see it. It's a pretty good viola. Okay. Gracias. Thank you. ¿Ustedes? ¿Quién sigue? Luz. ¿Cuál elegiste? Tú léela. Puedes pararte y leerla para que la gente te vea.
Dios es la naturaleza.
My God is nature. Y puede mostrar el dibujo. ¿Qué ves ahí? ¿Qué hay? Una abeja, un sol.
Abeja, árbol, flores, nubes, sol, aves.
There's a bee, flowers, a tree, a sun. I think eso creo que es una mariquita. It's a ladybug. Okay, gracias, Luz. ¿Quién sigue aquí? María.
Para mí, mi paz es cuando estoy con mis hijos conviviendo. Y and there's a photo with a heart and a flower.
¿Puedes traducir la paz?
For me, my peace is when I'm with my children, passing time with my children.
Okay. Gracias, María. Gracias. Does one of you want to read one of your pieces? Go for it.
So I walk in the cemetery.
Una caminata en el cementerio. Gracias. Did you finish? Did you finish yours? Did you finish yours? Did you finish yours? Did you finish yours? Okay, ustedes.
Sometimes you get shown the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right.
Una poesía. A veces te muestran la luz en los sitios más extraños si miras a la luz bien. Ok, gracias, thank you. Vamos diagonal. ¿Ustedes? Jewel from Graham.
It is well with my soul, and it has a beautiful picture of a sunset and some creative artwork.
Muy bien. It is what, the first word? It is well with my soul. Que está bien con mi espíritu. Y un dibujo con un sol. No sé qué será eso, pero bonito. Thank you. Gracias. You all already went. Ustedes también. Your turn. ¿Tú? Go for it.
Okay, we had our piece is beautiful smiles, the mountains, the beach, meditating, and my grandma's porch. Mediating, thank you, mediating.
La sonrisa, la playa, naturaleza, mediación y el patio de la abuela. All right, gracias.
Belonging is freedom. Freedom is a rainbow with a drawing of a rainbow.
Gracias. Thank you. El pertenecer es la libertad. La libertad es pertenecer. Perdón, la libertad es un arco iris.
Being held, and in parentheses, by the earth and the people I love, siendo abrazada, en paréntesis, a la tierra y la gente que amo.
Bien, gracias, thank you. ¿Ustedes listas?
¿Cuál es mi paz? Mis nietos, mis hijas, ir en moto con mi esposo en el campo.
Wow, okay. Ya lo leo. My piece, ¿lo quieres traducir? My piece are my grandkids, my daughters, and riding a motorcycle with my husband in nature. That's a good one. Gracias. Aposonado a tu esposo.
My piece is sitting at home in silence with my cats, reading a great story. Not my cats reading a great story. It's with my cats. I'm reading a great story. And it's a picture of me sitting in a chair with my cats, reading a great story.
It looks like the cat might be reading the story. So. Gracias. ¿Quién sigue? ¿Vosé?
Trust and love, raw nature, water, fields, trees.
Naturaleza, o algo en árabe, en Arabic. La confianza, el amor, familia, amistades. Bien. ¿Eso es todo? That's everyone? Well, believe it or not, the only thing left is how we can move 67 people to the front area for a photo where we all can say goodbye to each other. ¿Qué creen? ¿Posible? No te quedes dormida, amiga. Vamos acercarnos here to the front for a group photo of all 67 of us, including Pike. Come, Pike. Obrigado. Will, you think we can do it? Thank you. Yeah. Short people on stage. Las enanas en la tarima, por favor. Danielle, Emily, Luz. We'll do a row of seats in the front, okay? You gotta be in it.
I can take it.
So could I, but you should be in it. Excuse me. So some of the shorties can be on stage. So hay que estar dentro de la pantalla. You got to be inside the, what do you call this? Nobody past here is going to come out, and nobody past, what's your name? Anybody outside Bruni will not come out, so squeeze in, please. Emily and Pike, what are you all doing? You guys were here for the presentation?
Yeah.
You were here for the whole thing? Hello. You guys just got here?
No, we were here for a majority.
Yeah? Okay, so join the photo. Join the photo. Sandy and James, you got to squeeze in. Liam. I know you can. But should you is the question. Wait, where's your tripod?
We had to pack it up.
Hey, Will. What are you doing? Get in there, bro. What do you think? Maybe here?
Oh, yeah.
If you hold it for me, let me move the tables.
Perfect.
You all got so quiet. This is a really pretty photo, by the way. I wanted to get Erin in the photo, but she's not cooperating. Hey, Liam, if you don't squeeze in, I'm going to stand next to you. Okay, listas y listos? Okay, I'll move that one table more. And people who just walked in, squeeze in a little more, please. And then maybe a little less floor and more ceiling. Exacto. Hurry. No. Who else is coming? Quickly, come, rápido, vengan, rápido. Háganse aquí enfrente, vengan, come, aquí, vengan, aquí enfrente, ven, venga niña, venga para la foto, venga, hasta aquí, niña, ven, ten esto, nena, ven, ten esto aquí por la foto. Hágate aquí enfrente. Ven. Aquí. mira para allá. All right, we're all smiling. Metan la barriga. Uno más, venga.
He ran back out.
Cheese. Mira para allá, mira. Fíjense. All right. Bravo. So thank you to Sandy, to Danielle, to Elon University, to too many people. I didn't want it to run over. If you have questions, I'll be around till Friday. We can talk about the coloring books and the murals and all the rest. But thank you for your patience and thank you for having me. And thank you, Skylar.
Got like 4 hours driving. You want to come get your backpack?
Yeah. It's here. I'm back here.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right.
Hey, brother. Thanks, man. What's your name? Wesley?
Yes.
All right.
Take care.
Likewise, man. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, then.
Have a good
Appreciate it.
one.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.